You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
This is Big Q from the Sports Coma chiming in about the Pro Shop. Pro Shop is the platform store, and over 35 different designs are available for your pleasure. The new Drew Orleans shirts are coming in all colors, all sizes. Also for women, men, and children are available. Built Drew Orleans Tough is also available. Despite Katrina, despite the plagues, despite everything else, we're still built Drew Orleans Tough, and we're going to make it through it. The very popular God is a Saints fan shirt is available with volume number 2. One shirt that says it all. You'll be the life of the party with your God is a Saints fan shirt. Also other designs like the Chump Missioner tees. We didn't get robbed. The Drew Orleans neck gaiter that's also available now on the Pro Shop. Also, I am black and gold royalty. Tiger, purple, and gold pride. Built NOLA, Zion strong. Won't back down ever. Black and gold stand up. And many other great designs are available at the Pro Shop and provided to you by Pro Apparel. And not only tees or sweaters are available at the Pro Shop, also coffee mugs, smartphone cover cases for your Apple or Android, bedspreads, towels, posters, on and etc. Go to the Pro Shop, support the platform, and represent in style. Who that?
And now, here's your host, Big Q and her guys.
What's going on, fam? Welcome to the latest installment of the Sports Coma. We're in the building, man. Wednesday Saints Talk. You can't be stopped, man. We won't stop. Can't be stopped, man. That's why we plan for little inevitabilities like this. Multiple platforms, because the show must go on. Big ups to all the family members. GM Kev is in the building, and the rest of the family members kind of turned around right now on the Sports Coma. We're going to keep it going, man, as always. And as usual, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it grooving because we plan for these inevitabilities. When things like this occur, you got to know how to move. You got to know how to shake. You got to know how to break. And that's something that we know how to do all too well. Being that we, it's the type of stuff that we go through. Let me tell you something, man. It's just what it is, bro. So I'd like to thank everybody involved tonight as we having a surprise show on Pro Radio. And it's good. And that's a bonus. And actually, it's a real good thing it's a pretty damn good thing to do to keep it real with you, man. Because ultimately, the family members needed to know that we had a special, a place that we can go, that if something were to occur, we could still communicate. And Pro Radio is our alternative thing. We also have other alternative things as well. So we'll just have to see. Yeah, I heard about it, GM Kev. He says Bengals got McKinley. I know that. I knew that charge was going to come today. We knew that was going to happen. I kind of figured that would anyway. It just was a part of it. If the Saints did put it, we know they had several really interesting and talented teams who would have put the claim in, and he just happens to do it right now, then and there. But anyway, like I said, customarily said, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. Once again, I'm Big Q. This is the Great Saint Think Tank, also known as the Sports Coma, broadcasting from Pro Radio, alternative broadcasting source. We're also working on other platforms as well. Just in case platforms tend to fail, you got to have a way where you could be able to reach and talk to the family members. So I'm just going to chime out. GM Kev, how's the sound? Everything all right, bro? Put one in the chat if we coming through loud and clear. If everything's all right, put one in the chat to see if it's coming through loud and clear, fam. We'll be here for about a couple hours. We'll go over some news and notes as well. The links have been shared in the community section for family members who want to get over to Pro Radio. And it's a plus because what it does do, it gives people opportunity. Thank you, Verlin. Big ups to you, fam. Welcome to the chat. As some of the family members start kind of coming over. And see, and this is a positive because, we don't want to over rely on too many on one singular platform. And that's why we have apps. That's why we have multiple other platforms that we communicate on via whether it's Roku or Fire Stick or, we have Pro Radio, which is another major source. And we have other platforms that we're working on because we knew eventually that stuff like this will occur. We're in a very uncertain situation right now in the country. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that these people are at war with each other while we going to work every day. So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on that we don't even know about. On Q with Big Q will start covering a lot of that. We got a special that'll be coming out. I'm working on it now. It should be done, I think, tonight. After the show, I'll finish up on it and release it tonight. And then we'll go and proceed in doing live shows where we'll be able to play news notes on Q with Big Q. So I advise all of the family members join up on Q with Big Q because these little things just don't simply happen. Notice there's a lot of breaking down of systems and stuff like that usually means that they're trying to be taken over. So, I mean, we'll see what it's like. I don't want to get, people too, worried or whatever. But anyway, the reality at the end of the day is that it's good to see the family members chiming in a live stream. And then this is a good thing because now that you guys are, linked to Pro Radio, you can sign up for Pro Radio just in case something like this occurs again, because I'm telling you, it will occur again. So anyway, we'll get into and we'll carry on like we always do, family. Like I tell you, there's nothing that can stop the Great Saint Think Tank. And I keep telling y'all that, nothing. You take that platform down and they're having issues. We over here on this platform representing, still broadcasting while everybody got their damn head spinning around. It really does pay to have vision and to have some gumption. That's what the old people used to call it, gumption. It pays to have gumption. It pays to be ambitious. It pays to be a visionary. It pays to be somebody that foresees things and then steps ahead and then provides a way where they can have alternative ways to keep broadcasting and going. So in this edition of Sports Coma, we'll continue with the Wednesday Saints talk as usual, man. Nothing don't stop the ship. One monkey don't stop the ship, as Goody Mob said some years ago. Welcome to family members in the stream. And please, family, feel free to share the links with the other family members. I, of course, had one of the team members to share the links in the chat while I was setting up over here. When I noticed it was down, I automatically knew what time it was, and I just came over here and set up. So we'll be broadcasting here for tonight. But anyway, let's get into it. All right, today we'll play several different interviews. We'll start off the broadcast with several different interviews, starting with Coach Payton. We'll get Coach Payton going up in this thing. We'll broadcast here Sean Payton's interview. We'll play that momentarily. Then we'll come behind him with Elvin Kamara. We'll get into the news notes of the day with the Saints. We'll cover the Saints roster moves as they did. They signed veteran defensive lineman Christian Ringo to the practice squad. We'll go over who the hell he is. And we also talk about the Saints trying out another defensive tackle and the former Bengal 2017 pick. We just can't stand to get away from some of the Bengals defensive linemen, can we? We'll talk about the Saints releasing of 7th-round draft pick quarterback turned tight end Tommy Stevens. We'll also get into some of the 49ers news pertaining to who's going to be available for that upcoming team. And then after that, I'll share a link in the chat so the family members can call in and chime in. Listen, it don't stop nothing. It really don't. So big ups to the family members. Yeah, I know Jim Kev. Jim Kev says, yes, we need on QBQ. Yeah, I know, bro. We released one recently, just did one not too long ago, maybe several days ago, breaking down several things. And I thought it was really impactful to hear what Bresmanov had to say, being that he was a former guy that used to roll out systems like that in other countries. Now it's the U.S. turns. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't understand the dire danger the country in right now. And I'm just keeping it real with you, man. But anyway, let's keep it going, man. We're going to get to the Saints talk on Q with Big Q when it's time to do the on Q with Big Q. We'll do it as well. So let's start off with Coach Payton. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this very well. This is Coach Payton talking about, he was on his conference call talking about Quan Alexander and among other things. Here we go.
Good morning. Good morning, Sean. Sean, when you see
Let me know if y'all can hear that, fam.
just that much respect for what they do, and so, you know, I was happy we built on the momentum. I was happy we got the early 3 and outs. I thought that was significant into the way the game unfolded and getting a quick lead, and then from there, it was just one of our better efforts.
Was it as clean a mental game as you guys have had this season?
Yeah, listen, there's a coach in you, though, when you watch the tape that there's a number of things that I feel like we've got to clean up, and you know, hopefully we've done that already. We'll practice today, and you know, obviously our prep now is all on San Francisco.
Sean, it seems like a lot, like you guys have been getting home to the quarterback a lot in the second half this year. Is that like a product of your defensive line depth and just being able to rotate guys in and out, do you think?
Hopefully that's part of it. I think, you know, Ryan's done a good job. We've got a rotation going. You know, most of these weeks we've traveled with 8, and so it's part of the goal. You know, a lot of it the other night was, you know, very quickly it was a one-dimensional game, and that can certainly benefit you as well.
Sean, with the amount of people that San Francisco has out, does that make them a little bit more unpredictable, or do you just kind of trust in the system that they run and go from there?
Yeah, I think there's a system, and Kyle's done a great job, his staff's done a great job with it. Offensively, man, they do as good a job as anyone in our league at present and run, and working the mechanics of the run game, and getting an edge, a half a step formationally, and that's something that you just notice right away. They get the ball off of that action to their playmakers. Defensively, they're very impressive when you watch them. They've had a few injuries, no question, and yet when you watch the tape, they're extremely well coached, and you know, one of those teams that you can obviously have that tradition in that way about them. They're used to winning.
Sean, have you gotten a chance to meet with Quan Alexander in person yet?
I just did.
What's he like? What was that first interaction like?
Yeah, really, really good. Brief, but it's good to see him. He's in the building. He's doing well. You know, be working on this game plan, and yeah, good to finally really meet him, because you know, we over the years seen him in Tampa and then, of course, in San Francisco. It's good to have him here.
Sean, in what ways have you been able to evaluate Jameis Winston and see what he's about in season when you know, it's a lot probably more look to you than anything else?
Well, you're seeing everything daily. You know, he's done a great job of coming in here. Actually, you know, provides that daily upbeat attitude. There's a smile on his face. He loves football. He loves competing. You see him throwing every day. He's got extremely good arm talent. And man, I'm glad he's here. You know, there's something about him. You know, I think he's a very good leader, and so he's been a good addition for us.
On Emmanuel Sanders, could you just share your recollection of his performance the last time the Saints played the Niners, and also maybe if that contributed to your evaluation of him as a free agent?
Well, I think it was a small part. I remember him, if I'm not mistaken, throwing a touchdown pass or throwing a pass, correct?
Right.
Was it he that
catching a lot?
Yeah. And then he caught the long sting. Look, he was a pain in the butt in that game. And he's one of those real smart football guys on the field. He can track the ball down the field. Hopefully we can find him some of those explosive plays as we move forward. But he had a handful of big plays the other night, and is a big part of what we're doing.
So the games without Mike Thomas, with and without, is there a major change in the way you go about playing in the game or setting up the reads or anything like that when he's on the field versus when he's not?
Well, good question. The reads aren't necessarily changing. The designs, we might mix it up a little bit, but certainly the targets get spread to a bunch of different players. You know, Callaway himself in that role when he's playing at DX is getting targeted. So it's a little bit of a mix relative to how we put each week's plan together. I know it's easier when he's back, and it was good to see him back last weekend.
That's Coach Peyton Shaman and family on the thoughts on the team as well. And as you hear, meeting Quan Alexander, he should play in the matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. And it'll be interesting to see just how that plays out as well, because the reality is that the 49ers, despite the fact that they have all these injuries, this team is still very much a dangerous team. They still are. They still got a lot of weapons. And in today's NFL, if the game with the Jets and the Patriots don't show anything, that there's no such thing as a bad team so bad that they're not going to come in and try to fight for the game. The Jets almost upset the Patriots. The Dolphins did upset, I guess they did. Nobody picked them except for Dolphin fans to beat Arizona. I don't think anybody pretty much seen Miami as a winning team. They're 5-3 right now. So, I mean, listen, this team is 4-5, but everybody in their division is 5-3, all of them. All of them are 5-3. We talking about the Cardinals, Rams. Who else is there up there? The Cardinals, Rams, and then, of course, at the bottom of it, Seahawks. How did I forget the Seahawks? The Seahawks sitting on top. Then, of course, you're looking at the Rams and the Cardinals in the second place. So, I mean, it's real interesting, man. But the truth of the matter is you got to look at taking each team one step, one day at a time. And this is still a dangerous team. Now, they are missing pieces on the defense. That's well said. We do know about Bosa's not being there, Solomon Thomas, and guys like that. But they still have Javon Kinlaw. They still have Armstead there. They still have several other talented defenders that can cause problems, guys who are fast enough to cover and tackle, like Dre Greenlaw. They're looking at getting guys like Richard Sherman back. Now, we'll go into Jaquisti Tart, who's going on the IR. But still in all, the San Francisco 49ers are a dangerous team. But it's good to have a guy in the building who can give you some inside baseball on the 49ers system in Kyle Shanahan. Another thing to take measure for, and of course we ain't going to do the full 49ers versus Saints breakdown until way later in this week. Well, not way later, a couple days later, the Friday, fastly approaching Friday. It's already end of hump day. How about that? Thursday's approaching, and of course, it'll be time for the Saints versus 49ers preview on Friday. But the reality is that we as a team, we can't afford to lay down to the 49ers and play down to that competition. We have to still play and establish and play on that level that we established against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do not think that was just a watershed moment in which I think that fades away. I think eventually that the Saints found something, and I call it striking the geyser. They were digging around, and then bam, they hit the geyser, boom, Texas T. So, I mean, I think that they found that reserve. They tapped into something very special. And usually when you have something like that occur, it takes you into the rest of the season. So I don't think for a second that this is just merely something that the Saints eventually will get beyond. I think the Saints will maintain this level of play. And maybe they'll go a little bit below it. Maybe they'll go a little bit ahead of it. But I think they'll live or dwell within that neighborhood. All right. Now let's move on to our next interview. This is Alvin Kamara. He's going to talk about the offensive line and the play of his teammates. We'll play this for a few minutes, and then we'll get back into discussion. Here's Alvin Kamara.
We asked you guys a lot about taking Of all the things that he does well, is there one thing specifically that you believe he does better than the others?
I wouldn't say specifically, but I think it's all encompassing. His toughness, I mean, is one thing that I think separates him from a lot of guys. I mean, he's the type of dude, he'll run into a wall and get back up and be like, all right, what's the next play? Like, he's just very tough, very, very grit. Like, he got a lot of grit, and I mean, he's just gonna do whatever he got to do to help us win.
When you saw him pull off the hurdle, it wasn't quite the Camaro hurdle, but when you saw him pull off the hurdle, what was the thing that went through your mind? What did you think?
I mean, he trying to do whatever he can to keep going. Like, you know, some guys don't got that. Like, but he has the instinct to, you know, elevate and get up out the ground, even though he didn't get up too far and he was running in the air. But you know, I mean, he just makes plays. He's exciting to watch.
Next question from Rod Walker.
Hey, Alvin, 8 games into the season, where would you say this team, where do you feel like y'all are, and what are some areas you think you all still need to improve on?
I mean, I think we need to improve everywhere, honestly. I think, you know, none of us are feeling like a sense of complacency. We're not like, oh, we had a good game, so we're good. Like, let's just try to recreate that. We're trying to keep ascending. If you're not ascending, you're not doing nothing. You're descending. So trying to keep getting better in all phases, kicking, offense, and defensive. You know, I think one thing about us, the past years we've been good because, you know, we've been great in all phases, and we've been top 5, top 3 in the league in all categories, and you know, that's what we're striving to do. I mean, it's getting better and better every week, but we still got a long way to go to get to where we want to be at.
Next question from Mike Triplett.
Alvin, I was also going to ask you about Taysom, but what's interesting, I think, about him is, unlike most running backs, he almost gets judged on a carry-by-carry basis. If he has like a 0-yard gain, it's too cute, it's too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But, what do you think people don't appreciate maybe about how valuable it is to bring in those Taysom plays to this offense, even though you have a lot of other proven playmakers?
Man, I mean, it's definitely valuable because at the end of the day, you know, people talk about, oh, why are we doing that, why are we doing this, but teams still have to stop it. You can know they know when Drew lines up at quarterback, there's a possibility he's going to throw the ball. Shit. When Taysom lines up, he can throw the ball. They think he's going to run it. They got to stop both. They got to figure out what to do with him. And it's something that I think it's an asset to our game plan week in and week out. So, you know, it's just about execution. You know, I mean, a negative play, it is what it is. We play football. We got to keep moving. And he does a great job, you know, no matter the outcome. But, you know, he like I said, he's an asset to our offense.
Next question from Luke Johnson.
I was going to ask about Taysom too, but I guess I'll throw those questions off the side. How do you think the O-line has been playing these last couple of weeks, especially? It seems like y'all kind of won the games at that spot.
Oh, I mean, so we go as the O-line goes. So they've been playing terrific, and they've been playing great. Guys just doing whatever they have to do, just fighting, keep clawing, scratching. I mean, they're, I think, the best O-line in the league, you know. And I just feel like, you know, with us, you know, Drew's comfortable back there. He feels he has the protection he needs. When we run the ball, I have all the confidence in the world that, you know, we can get the job done up front and we can do what we got to do. That being me and Latavius, just getting the looks we want and you know, getting everything blocked up front. You know, those guys, I mean, I don't know if they get enough credit. You know, I definitely give them all the kudos and all the praise because, you know, they got a hard job to do and they do it well.
Sam, that's Alvin Kamara breaking down the game, man, talking about the importance of the offensive line and some of the plays, including Taysom Hill. And then you look at Taysom Hill, man, and notice the play this time around in the game was balanced because you got the ability to be able to throw the pass. And this is common. It's not complicated, and we know that. We covered and we talk about that a lot on the show. The fact that the offensive line for the Saints they've really stepped up. The rookie Ruiz really stepping up and really catching a niche at the right guard position and playing really strong. I'm glad to see that. That's a very big plus of the whole situation because I was a bit concerned about the draft pick rookies having contributions because we would need Ruiz to step up and play beyond his level, beyond what we think a rookie could play. And he's done a very admirable job right there for the Saints over the last several games. And then, of course, you look at the fact that we've known about tight end Adam Troutman, but he got involved in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and hopefully that's more to come. Of course, Zach Bourne's still not there. And, of course, we could look at it, too, as well, that Zach Bourne could be situated further down based on the fact that they have added to the team Quan Alexander. And that does meet issues. Of course, the Saints 4-3 defense could be a good look, but, of course, we don't roll that out very much. Less than 5 or 6 times a game that you might see that 4-3 defense, because most of the time we got to play offenses that tend to use 3 wide receiver looks. So that's Elvin Kamara and Sean Payton giving us some game about what's going on with the team thus far. Really interesting, though. Also, the comment that he made concerning even though we have to run the plays. Even though we run the plays, they have to stop the plays, and Elvin's correct. They do have to stop the plays, but if you run in plays that they know, more than likely they're going to stop. So we got to mix it up and make it a little bit more interesting than what we've been doing, and we did that. And truth be told, let's keep this stuff going. Let's just maintain this level of professionalism and play and intensity, because this is the stuff that Super Bowls are made of. Yes, I said it, Super Bowls. All right, let's move on to the first news article we're going to talk about after the interviews. Saints roster moves. Veteran defensive lineman Christian Ringo signed to the practice squad today. This was reported by Nick Underhill, who said the Saints defensive tackle Christian Ringo, he signed him to the practice squad, according to a source. He went to college at Louisiana Lafayette. He spent his time with Packers, Bengals, Lions, and the Cowgirls. It didn't take long for the Saints to fill a vacancy on their practice squad that was created by the releasing of rookie draft pick Tommy Stevens, as reported by Underhill. The Saints have signed free agent defensive tackle Christian Ringo, to the practice squad back on a 60-man back, and got that practice squad back to 60-man capacity. Now, Ringo, he's 6'1", 300 pounds, may be a familiar name to some Saints fans. He played at University of Louisiana Lafayette in college before being picked up by the Packers in the 6th round of 2016's draft. He appeared in 8 games for the Green Bay Packers before bouncing around the league, spending 2017 with the Detroit Lions and splitting time in 2018 between the Bengals and the Cowboys. Earlier this year, Ringo signed a free agent contract with the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where he would have played with the former Saints linebacker Adam Bighill, but the CFL canceled his 2020 season amid the C-19 pandemic, so he opted out of his contract to pursue NFL opportunities. In total, he's played in 20 NFL games while racking up 15 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and remember, the NFL changed its practice squad rules this year so that several players with 4 or more years experience can sign with the teams in case of C-19 related absences. So Ringo makes 6, joining wide receivers Austin Carr and Tommy Lee Lewis, center Cameron Tom, and defensive ends Anthony Zettel and William Clark. Expect Ringo to pad out the practice rotation at defensive tackle while Sheldon Rankins is on injury reserve. So we got a local product, Christian Ringo, 6'1", 300-pound defensive tackle to come in and help with the team. So we'll see how that shake among everything else. Let's move into another Saint news item. Saints trial defensive tackle Ryan Glasgow, the former Bengal 2017 draft pick. Beefing up the interior defensive line is a priority for the Saints after signing Christian Ringo to the practice squad. The Saints reportedly had a tryout with the 4th-year pro Ryan Glasgow on the Daily Wire. Now, Glasgow is 27 years of age and was listed as a 6'3", 300-pound guy. Was a 4th-round pick by the Bengals during the 2017 draft. He's been credited with 41 combined tackles, a fumble recovery, and 24 games for the Bengals over the past 3 years. Though he missed a lot of time in 2018-2019 with knee injuries, he joined the Texans practice squad for most of October and recently spent a week with New England before entering the NFL. Glasgow appeared in 45 games with the Wolverines in college, totaling 77 tackles, 13.5 for loss. While New Orleans has enough quality players at the top of the depth chart to fill in for the injured Sheldon Rankins, they could see more depth to pad out reps in practice. Onyemata remains the clear-cut starting defensive tackle next to Malcolm Brown, with youngster Shai Tuttle and Malcolm Roach rotating in behind him. Adding an experienced veteran like Ringo and Glasgow to practice squad and scout team would make a lot of sense. So there you go. So the Saints looking at 2 guys, and of course they signed Ringo
who more than likely will see some action in some limited capacity for the Saints team with Sheldon out. Another news item, Saints release rookie draft pick Tommy Stevens. That's right, rookie, a 7th-round draft pick QB turned tight end Tommy Stevens is out of here. Saints fans guard late-round draft picks jealously, and for this is a good reason. Those selections could be the next Marcus Colston or Zach Strief, decade-long starters, forever underrated Pro Bowl snubs. But it's more realistic to treat these last-minute picks like scratch-off tickets, according to the article. 2020 draft Tommy Stevens is the latest example of how things may not pan out. The Saints released him from the practice squad on Tuesday, according to NFL Transaction Wire. Stevens was a target on a bold draft day trade when Saints and Peyton moved back into the 7th round to pick him before Carolina's Joe Brady, his former assistant and architect of Taysom Hill's playbook, could reunite with Stevens, who pioneered the role when they both were at Penn State. Stevens showed some promising versatility in college, leading him to comparisons with Taysom Hill even before the Saints picked him. A quarterback at Mississippi State, Stevens converted to tight end and full-time in New Orleans. He wore number 85 in training camp practices and continued to work on his blocking and receiving skills after being waived during roster cuts and re-signed him with the practice squad while he posted impressive number in pre-draft workouts. Stevens was clear about his intent to remain a quarterback in the NFL. So now he'll get a fresh start somewhere else, maybe in Carolina with Joe Brady. The Saints have been inching closer to signing free agent tight end Ethan Wolf by hosting them on a series of workouts in recent weeks. So the writing was on the wall for Stevens. But with Stevens out of the picture, the Saints have now lost both 2027 round pick and they used to draft him, and the 2021 6th-round traded to Houston used to get in position. So they lose 2 picks on 1 player. Wolf now and that's really critical because when you have to move down $80-90 million next year, those picks are got to hit, and the Saints have really been missing on a lot of draft picks under the scenes. We're not paying attention to them, but because we're looking at a lot of the massive ones that are stepping up. Trey Hendrickson is finally showing off. Traquan Smith has finally arrived. We all know about Kamara. We know about Mike Thomas, the draft pick guys. We know about Caden Ellis is still there. Who knows for how long. We know about Sheldon Rankins, who is doing well, David Onyemata, and picks like that. But quite recently, the Saints have not been hitting on these draft picks, more so on the undrafted than drafted guys. And that's losing 2 picks for a guy you released to the practice squad, ultimately probably going to go to your rival. We'll see. We'll see how that shakes. But while Wolf, the tight end they picked, they're looking at, takes his spot as a development prospect on the practice squad, along with veteran Griffin behind Josh Hill, Jared Cook, and draft pick Adam Troutman, who was being eased into the offense much like Jimmy Graham in his own rookie year. So, of course, you got Wolf back on, Ethan Wolf on the practice squad as well, and, of course, the signing of guys like Rangel. So for those who want to know exactly what the practice squad is, with who's on it right now, allow me to run it down to you. Tommy Lee Lewis, wide receiver Tommy Lee Lewis, cornerback Grant Haley, the former Giants defensive back, is there. Running back Tony Jones Jr. from Notre Dame, the rookie. Rookie cornerback Keith Washington is also on there. Tight end Garrett Griffin. Linebacker Joe Beshy. Linebacker Andrew Dowell. Offensive lineman Cameron Tom. Offensive lineman Will Clapp. Offensive lineman Kelvin Throckmorton. Defensive end Anthony Zattel. Wide receiver Austin Carr. Wide receiver Jawan Johnson. Tight end Ethan Wolf. And defensive end Will Clark. So this is the entire Saints 16-man practice squad as she stands currently. So very interesting to say the least. So Wolf and Ringel are on the team as we move forward. So also, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers. And this comes directly from the 49ers web zone as they're breaking down what's going on with their team. And I'm doing a little spying on their media. But according to what they're saying, the 49ers and Saints, Kyle Shanahan provides injury updates on Richard Sherman, Raheem Mostert, Kawhi Williams, and several other players. The 49ers' Kyle Allen spoke with reporters before today's practice about several injury updates. The team is preparing to face the Saints. And, of course, Raheem Mostert, who has an ankle, won't play against the Saints, according to Shanahan. He said he hopes to have him back for the team's Week 12 matchup against the Rams after the bye. Running back Tevin Coleman, knee, won't play either.
Shanahan hopes to have him back for Week 12. Linebacker Demetrius Foles also won't play this weekend. Wide receiver Deebo Samuel has a hamstring and will not practice today. The team will evaluate him for tomorrow. Cornerback Quan Williams' ankle will be out for a while. Injury reserve is a possibility. We'll see. Wide receiver Trent Taylor back, won't practice today. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne remains on the C-19 list. Cornerback Richard Sherman, who's dealing with a calf situation, will practice. He practiced for the first time. Will practice for the first time since Week 1. And of course, the 49ers place starting safety Jaquiski Tart on the injury reserve due to a toe injury. So a lot of stuff going on in the 49ers land, and it ain't all good, let me tell you. They are really dealing with some injuries, and that's just some of the guys, not mentioning Garoppolo and guys like that. They're already on the IR. So, I mean, very, very interesting, to say the least, for the 40 whiners. And they most certainly have a lot to whine about, if you ask me, man, if you ask me. Now, let's move into our other news here. Saints injury report for today, as delivered by NewOrleansSaints.com. Saints, let's look at it. Center Eric McCoy popped up on the list. He has an elbow issue. He was limited in practice. Drew Brees is back on the list again. We're limited as well with a right shoulder situation. Ryan Ramczyk popped up on the list. It's interesting. He was limited with a back situation. So, and that's interesting to see those guys up there. And then, of course, Mike Thomas is still up there, limited with ankle and hamstring issues. So we got McCoy with elbow situation, limited in practice. Drew right shoulder was limited in practice. Ryan Ramczyk back situation, he was limited in practice, but still played. Mike Thomas still ankle and hamstring issues, still limited in practice. I think that'll be the case for a while until they are completely healed. San Francisco 49ers, like we delivered their report, according to what the Saints are telling us, Telvin Coleman, Deebo Samuel, Trent Taylor, Kawhi Williams, Demetrius Flanagan Foles, all were DMP that did not practice. And then wide receiver River Craycraft has a quadricep. He was limited. 49ers are really banged up. Saints have shown some injuries, but ultimately it's a physical game, and we are getting healthier. And I think that's a major, major and positive thing, if you ask me. So it's interesting to say the least, man. But, boy, I tell you, man, a lot of injuries to be concerned about for the 49ers. But the Saints, we can't sleep on this team whatsoever. You know, I know we still feeling the high from that 49ers smackdown. Almost felt like a Super Bowl victory to many people. And I think it made people feel a lot better. I think it made people feel a lot better about, you know, the whole situation because of how the team was looking over the last several games. Barely beating teams, a lot of mistakes, deep ball passes getting thrown behind them. And, of course, we were kind of concerned, really concerned, why the team looked like they looked. You know, we only had the addition of a guy like freaking what's his name? What's the guy's name? Malcolm Jenkins was added to the defense. That's the only real difference there, is that Malcolm Jenkins was added to the back end of the defense, and for them to be that drastically that bad is really, really surprising. And another thing is, with Drew there, a lot of comeuppance have to be given to the defense. Speaking of the defense, and Trey Hendrickson has been magnificent. Got to give it up for Trey Hendrickson. He's been a spectacular force for the team. I'm just going to keep it real with you. He was spectacular. As spectacular as one could be, to be quite honest with you, man, dealing with Trey Hendrickson, how he played. I mean, seriously, he's been phenomenal, man. Absolutely phenomenal how he's played. And that's why I give Trey Hendrickson a lot of credit, because he came through a lot of stuff, family, to get where he is. Seriously, 4 straight years. He didn't shy. And these guys, and this is really the literal definition of late bloomers. The literal definition of late bloomers with Trey Hendrickson and Traquan Smith. I mean, Traquan still has a year left on his rookie contract,
But man, these guys, you've seen glimpses, but they could not stay or remain healthy. That was the major issue that always I seen with these players, is that they could not remain healthy. But Trey Hendrickson is remaining healthy in the final year of his deal. And of course, when he balls out, we're not going to bring Trey Hendrickson back. He's just playing his way perhaps to another team's contract, because we're not going to pay Trey Hendrickson. We ain't going to pay him to be back here unless he takes a severe cut, which he won't. This guy is third, and I don't know if he'll maintain. I hope he does, but you'll start seeing they're meshing. If you see how they're playing Davenport and Hendrickson together, almost like they're co-starters, and that's the best way I can say that thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can say that thing, is that the way they're playing is almost like co-starters. And that's exactly what the hell it is. I mean, I'm just going to keep it real with you. It's co-starters. And they doing everything they're supposed to do, mixing them and keeping those guys healthy. I would just like to see a third guy, a fourth guy, actually a fourth guy. We've seen Granderson, but to me, I don't know. Hendrickson and Davenport's slowly working this way, so I'm expecting to see him take off, and eventually we're going to see Davenport get back on that main light and start showing up. But I think Trey Hendrickson is definitely taking advantages of the fact that he, as a defensive player, is dealing with a lot of single blocks, and he's required, and he's beaten. If you watch the footage, he got a lot of his sacks off of, he's being single blocked. You look over there by Cam. Cam is the guy that's getting doubled and chipped and everything. And Trey is just doing what he's supposed to do, which is simply beat the goddamn block. That's what it basically comes down to. And he's been beating he's doing that. He's beating the block. So that's a great thing, man. And I just wanted to give Trey Hendrickson some credit, because I know we're hard on Trey Hendrickson, to keep it real with you. But the reality at the end of the day, man, is that the Saints defense has come alive. They're playing championship level football, and I love it. They destroyed Tampa Bay. We did the video the other day, literally breaking down and talking about all the stuff that we had to go through as people, as Saints family members, watching this numbskull stuff about these other haters who were talking smack about the team. But using that as motivation, we were able to then determine that, we could use that to then forge the team into a closer brotherhood and create a Saints versus everybody mentality. And then everybody would encapsulate and then move forward with the unified objective to conquer and win a Super Bowl. But this is a professional team, and we know without a doubt, family, that this team will not look the same next year because of these cap situations at the current. So it's now Super Bowl more so than ever before. And listen, we're in position. The Saints, are at the top here, and we moved ahead 5 straight wins to seize this thing. And our schedule is pretty soft as according to the schedule. But of course, every game we got to bring it. Very soft schedule when you think about it. And teams that are struggling, we're looking at probably the toughest team. No, certainly the toughest team remain on the schedule is the Kansas City Chiefs. But who knows? Kansas City, like DC astutely mentioned, this might be a situation where you might not see you might not see all their starters, because Kansas City might actually have wrapped up a situation where you won't have to worry about seeing their starters. You get what I'm saying there? You never know how this thing is going to go. But anyway, family, listen. We love what we're doing, man. I like to thank all the family members for everything in the chat. So if you got any questions, concerns, please throw it in the chat. Please throw everything that you're doing in the chat. I'll do my best to answer it. We've posted stuff in the comment section with the family members on our YouTube platform or what have you, so they would know to join us. But if not, then of course this show would then be added to the YouTubean archives, and so people can follow it as well. So, but what's interesting that I find out, family, is that Drew Brees, it's just awesome, man. The greatness of what happened and turning tragedy into triumph. And I've said, on the previous show about successful people don't see certain obstacles as negative events. They don't. They see most of these things as simply trials and tribulations that you got to overcome. And that's pretty much all it is, and that's all it ever will be to a successful minded person. Trials and tribulations, man. Bottom line. And when you overcome those and they add to your knowledge base, they make you tougher, stronger, and smarter. And what team in the NFL has been through more than what the New Orleans Saints has been through? Seriously. Champions handle it the right way, we handle it the right way. And that's how we doing this thing. So when we get back from the break, I'm going to open up the chat and take calls from you guys on the other side of the break. So just stay with us. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We'll be back.
If you haven't heard the Sports Coma, this is what you're missing. Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Remington Tax Solutions is a company that, together with their partners, provide virtual tax consultation and preparation for individuals, small business, and nonprofit. They also provide notary and a host of other business-related services for their clients. Their associates provide a systematic yet very client-centered approach to their services. They offer the industry knowledge and insight to help solve your most complex tax issues. At Remington, their currency is time, the one resource that cannot be replenished. For that reason, they utilize the simplest and most effective forms of technology to make their services faster and more efficient. No need to wait in the office until your taxes are completed. Simply upload your documents via the Taxes to Go app or via their client portal, and they'll take care of the rest. Remington Tax Solutions is a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals and participates in the IRS Annual Filing Season Program, which is a voluntary tax education program to stay abreast of the ongoing changes in tax legislation. Remington Tax Solutions has a strong connection to the communities in which they serve. It is a part of their mission to make a positive impact on the lives of their neighbors. So, if you're looking for a reliable, effective, and trustworthy tax preparation service, Remington Tax Solutions is the business for you. Contact Remington Tax Services at their number 682-307-4410 or simply go to RemingtonTax.com. That's RemingtonTax.com. Remington Tax Service, virtual tax preparation for the individual. It's HomeBistro.com. Freshly prepared, home delivered, restaurant quality gourmet meals delivered straight to your home. Choose from over 50 plus gourmet meal options cooked by world-class chefs and delivered frozen, ready to eat within minutes and no commitment. Welcome to the one-shop gourmet food delivery, specializing in affordable options to eat right and feel great. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Every ingredient is handpicked to the highest standard. And why you should buy from HomeBistro.com? Restaurant quality, made with natural ingredients, delivered right to your door. Overnight shopping is available. Diabetic, paleo, heart health, and vegetarian options to eat. Doing business since 1999. Courteous, knowledgeable, and professional support. Complete PCI compliant SSL security ordering and great meals. Choose from some of my favorite dishes: the Mediterranean chicken with orange honey sauce, the charbroiled chicken romesco, or the grilled chicken breast with sweet and spicy vegetables. No matter what you choose, you can't lose with HomeBistro.com. Eat great, feel good, and save some money with HomeBistro.com. Hit the link in the description section below for more information.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet needs it the most. with personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals. Their values is what makes them embrace. So when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to embracepetinsurance.com. That's embracepetinsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, we back in the building. Big ups to the family members chiming on this version of the show. Wednesday Saints Talk going down on Pro Radio, man. Of course, later on we'll upload the show to our YouTube platform, man, so the rest of the family members can hold to it. But anyway, we talking Saints, man, regardless of not in our alternate platform, Pro Radio. Please subscribe, join up for Pro Radio, just in case if that thing goes down for days on end. You never know how it's going to fold, fam. You never know, but it's always good to be prepared. I tell you what. All right, getting to the second side of things after our break. We're going to get into it and take chat questions as well. We're going to share the link in the chat where we can be able to open up the phone lines. Perhaps we'll be able to, well, not so much the phone lines. I'm going to open up the chat. I'm going to post a link down there for the family members to chime in and get their thoughts and concerns on whether or not what they think about some of these new people that the Saints have decided to add on. So the link is in the chat. Family members can feel free to hop on and join the show live. We'll take a few calls here. The show won't run that long on Pro Radio, family. Of course, tonight we have Ring Kings Boxing that is due to air at 8 o'clock tonight. So just for the family members who might not know, we got Ring King Boxing that's due to air tonight. Well, you know, we'll see. I think it's set to air at 8:30 or 7:30. I'm not exactly certain. It's actually 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. So Ring Kings Boxing in the building, and as well as we looking at Haney and Gamboa recap, Crawford and Brook preview, and a bunch, almost just about we got maybe going about an hour or so of boxing content, a lot of stuff to cover in Ring Kings Boxing. We don't bit and piece you like one story. We give you a collective right there and let you run through it. That's how we do it. But anyway, big ups to the family members chiming on this side of the stream. We are opening up the chat for family members to get involved. So if you want to pop in and share your thought process on the Saints and what's going on this week, feel free to question or pop in and hit it up. So big ups to the rest of the family members chiming on this edition of the show. Thank you, GM Kev, as well. And the rest of the family. It says YouTube is back up. Okay, thank you, brother. GM Kev, thank you for that. All right, so we're going to keep it going, fam, as well as we've been working. Another R&Q with Big Q is also should be coming out tonight, man. I got to finish up on it. It's a one-topic show dealing with a lot of stuff. It's a pretty deep show, this one is. I mean, this is a pretty deep show because it's sad that we don't realize how bad it is, because I keep telling people about constructs. You know, I keep telling you about constructs and how constructs work. And the reason why we don't realize some of the things that we see, and we see them as bad, but really they're 100 times worse than what we could see what they are. But due to how our mind perceives things, we have a way of shedding or coloring it a certain way or just blocking it out. We don't want to deal with it. And often our ancestors who carried a lot of the religions that dealt with disagreeable beings that were batshit crazy was a lot more aggressively and a lot more savagely than, civilly savage. That's why I won't term it as, because they could not negotiate with
to be these type of people that they were dealing with back in the day. There was only one way to handle it, and that's why these people went underground. But we talk about that on Q with Big Q. That show will be coming out soon. Anyway, let's get back into the Saints conversation, family, and we're going to go over some analysis here from some of these stories. Now, of course, we're looking at what the Saints are attempting to do. Glasgow, a guy that we're looking at, the former Bengals pick, wasn't a bad interior lineman. But, you know, and I understand them doing what they're doing with Sheldon Rankins and this Ringo kid. But, you know, in my mind, I always look to add, you know, people that can impact the team in the way, you know, what was wrong with picking up a Cameron Wake? A Cameron Wake could do what this Ringo kid could do real easy. 1 year veteran minimum contract. He can double as a defensive end for you. I mean, defensive tackle as well as a defensive end for you because Cameron can play inside and out. Old veteran, had a lot of success pass rushing. You have a lot of sacks over the years. Just throwing that out there. You know, I knew we probably wouldn't have had an opportunity to land a guy like Tack McKinley. We know you have guys like Cincinnati and the rest of those guys who are the Cowboys who could really use a Tack McKinley. I'm pretty sure they had several different claims in for McKinley, to keep it real with you, man. You know, I'm just going to keep it real. I know they had, say, at least several of them that they were looking at putting this guy, you know, getting this guy. And, of course, his contract was really nothing. You get a young guy you could test for a year or so and see how you like him. But he can be a big plus to help out because, of course, you know, they got rid of Carlos Dunlap in Cincinnati. And Tack McKinley can come in and he can make a name for himself with this young Cincinnati team. So, I mean, the way I see it, man, to keep it honest and real with you, man, is I think that, you know, we're trending in the right direction. But if we could just maintain what we got, I think we'll be fantastic. You know, and I think a lot of Saints family members are still high off that punch. You know, they're still high off that Kool-Aid, and they rightfully so, man. Rightfully so. A lot of our family members deserve to feel that after so much uncertainty, man. You know, so much uncertainty that was going on with the team during the time it was going on. You know, meaning barely scraping out these wins, and you know, and it was just insane. You know, it was just upsetting. You know, that they couldn't put it together, and usually it takes about four days or 4 games for them to do it. It took well more than that. We had to get way up until the 9th week of the season before you seen the Saints tear a hole in somebody's ass. I mean, I was looking for one of them situations where the team would have to step up and step out, and they did. Boy, did they do that in a major capacity. But going over the NFC rankings as it stands right now, the Saints are 6-2 on top of the NFC South. The Bucs are 6-3. Atlanta's 3-6. So is Carolina. You know, they're 3-6, not mathematically eliminated, but Carolina's facing a Tampa Bay team that will be pissed off. And Carolina's fighting for their playoff loss because we know that more than likely a 9-7 team will not make the playoffs if they're fortunate enough to do that. Let's move into the NFC West when we're talking about playing the 49ers who sit in the cellar there. Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams, those are the top teams. 6-2 is the Seahawks, and 5-3 are both the Cardinals and the Rams, and 4-5 is the 49ers. So with that being said, the 49ers are not eliminated, and even though they're on a 2-game slide, and Shanahan is going to try to get this team to get a big ego-building win, a confidence-building win against the New Orleans Saints. Be a difficult matchup for him. The only question I have, without going too ham on it, is what does it mean if Sean Payton, who's taking on Kyle Shanahan, what the hell does that mean? That's usually a bad thing. Does he lose his head? Does he then become a little bit erratic? You know, does he get big-headed in the game? I most certainly hope not. And hopefully I'm thinking that Sean Payton will stay within himself and make it happen. So we'll see how that shakes. But we'll bring in GM Kev. GM Kev to the show. Welcome in to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, bro? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, bro. How's it sound? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, it sounds good, man. It's another way you streaming. I like it. It's cool, you know, and certain situations you got to go to your backup.
You ain't never kidding, bro. I mean, we just got to keep on moving, bro. But how you feel about it, GM Kev?
You said a key thing right there. I had to think about this 49ers matchup for a minute, and I forgot about the Peyton versus Shanahan dilemma. That could be interesting too. These, like we talked earlier, these guys not going to come in and just lay down. So I know, sometimes we look at records and, the Saints after that win Sunday night, they looking like they are Super Bowl bound. But like we know, until you go out there and handle your business every week, it's a week-to-week league. So we should be off the emotions and the high right now and getting ready for the next game. Never take none of these guys lightly. And they come in with something to prove. They still got a chance to make the playoffs. So, yeah, we definitely need to go out there and handle business and finish them off early. That's how I have to look at it.
Well, I agree with you on that one, Jim Kev, because the reality is this team still have enough weapons on it. I mean, to play tough. And Kyle Shanahan is not a bad coach, and he's known to be a coach to try to, maybe can try to gather an advantage by getting under Coach Payton's skin a little bit. But they found different running backs, even though Coleman's not there, Mosert's not there. You've had several other guys, Hasty, who came in and ran the ball before he got hurt. So he continues to try to find running backs to move the ball. And we still know that this team has talented weapons they could throw to. Jordan Reed, who used to be a premier, up-and-coming young premier tight end for the Washington Redskins before the Washington Whataburger Club, ultimately before he started having a series of injuries that kind of stalled his career. But he's found a healthy home with the San Francisco 49ers, and we'll possibly see more of Jordan Reed, who can pose a risk in terms of being a receiver who can help Nick Mullins as far as the tight end is concerned. But they're uncovering some interesting pieces there for them as well. The defense missing a lot of their really good players like Bosa and Solomon Thomas and a few other guys. But we know about Jaquiski Tart, who went on IR today. But they still have guys like Jonathan Cyprin, who used to play who's a starter for many years with the Jacksonville Jaguars, that can come in and fill in for them. So they do have some players and some depth that can help to a degree. So what they're doing is there's a certain air of desperation with the San Francisco 49ers insofar as them trying to remain in the playoff hunt. They're 4-5. And they're trying to get back to 500 in that tough NFC West.
Well, I looked at it. I was unaware that they had Jordan Reed. Mm-hmm. That's surprising to me because I haven't looked at all the moves that teams were making, from player to player. But well, if he could stay healthy, man, that's a bonus because that was one big problem with him with the Washington football team. He couldn't stay healthy. The talent was always there. So by him playing, I think the game plan for them going to be very simple. They're not going to try to have Mullins in the pocket too long. It's going to be like 1-2 drop steps, try to get it out there quick, use your running game. They're going to play very conservative, but you might see some trick plays too. They do. If Deebo Samuel play, I can expect a lot of little trickery here from like screens and reverses and something like that they'll throw in. But the game plan is not going to probably be like they will be with the starting quarterback. They don't want the guy to be back there too much thinking. And plus, one of our strength is the defensive line. So you don't want to get him rattled back up, especially early if I'm looking at it from their point of view. But from the Saints' point of view, that's definitely what you want to do. Get him rattled early, take his confidence away early, hit him, try to get some turnovers, and then the game definitely could be one-sided. So, yes, they do have a lot of offensive weapons that we just can't look over just because their record of 4-5.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And like I said, they're missing some people, but this team has got good depth as well. And some of these guys actually might be able to play. We know Deebo Samuel and we know Brandon Ayuk, who's becoming a young, talented wideout for him, and Deebo Samuel is right now their best wide receiver, period. But you got guys like Kendrick Barnes who would step up for him. He's out. Travis Benjamin was a guy with speed. He's out. But Richie James is another young, talented wide receiver who the team likes a lot too, and he stepped up as a third wide receiver, a deep threat that can get behind your defense. And of course, if you check the depth charts for the 49ers, Jordan Reed is listed as the starting tight end.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people thought it was Ross Dwelly who might start in loss of George Kittle's, but the truth is Jordan Reed provides a lot better tight end for him because he's versatile enough to act as a good wide receiver who can get upfield, he can catch the ball. The only issue with him, and right now during the season he has 12 catches for 88 yards, he has a couple of touchdowns. He averages 7.3 yards on the catch. And what's interesting about Jordan Reed is, he's 30 years old, man. So I think he's found a good spot to land with the San Francisco 49ers behind, but with their big tight end Kittle's missing. So he's a veteran and 6'2", 242, but he has good speed that can be able to get behind you too. And the 49ers need that, man. They really do. They need every speed advantage that they can have. So it's like I said, they still have enough weapons to make it interesting. We just can't go to sleep on this team. You still have guys like Armstead, Ken Law, guys like Fred Warner, who's playing big. Dre Greenlaw's good for him. They got good cornerbacks like Jason Verrett, the former Charger. Jimmy Ward is there as well for him. He'll do good. Like I said, they might have Marcel Harris playing in there. I don't know if they still have Jonathan Cyprien there. They
got some good players.
O'Keller, Witherspoon, and then they talking about Richard Sherman coming back. So the secondary is decent enough. And of course, Deion Jordan is there. So I mean, they do have a lot of good talent where they could put pressure on you, and if you let them get going, it could be problematic. But Nick Mullins is going to do just enough to keep them in the game. They'll give them the running attack of Jared McKinnon. Jermichael Hasty he'll get thrown in there. Hasty can run the ball too, but they've shown that they could throw different running backs in there and keep the running attack moving to a degree. So the offensive line has done a pretty decent job despite missing starting offensive linemen Weston Richburg and Ben Garland. Those guys were doing good for them as well. So they're keeping the offense going. They're moving the ball, man, and that's all I can say about it. We just have to stop them and shut them down, one-dimensionalize them, and demoralize them like we did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and keep it moving.
Well, I tell you what's going to really be the key to me is when the 49ers on offense is like, how do they third down numbers look? Because I would think the Shanahan game plan would be he don't want to be in third and long with this quarterback. I guess, give the Saints more opportunities to use their strength, which is in the defensive line. So those different looks at them, different combos and sets, try to confuse them. So when it gets to third down and it's like 3rd and 5 or less, then they would be on track to like do their game plan the way they want to. Because sometimes you still can sneak a run in there or draw on 3rd and 5. So that's our whole key. We want to get him in long, difficult situations, something he's not comfortable in because he's going to be scared of getting hit and scared to make that mistake. So it's so crazy when you think back in the draft this year, Brandon Ayuk was a guy that I really liked. And can you imagine if we'd have kept our starting offensive guard and drafted Ayuk?
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. To be honest.
Don't you see some of the madness of this? Like, I'm not saying Ruiz not a good player, but you can't tell me since you're not using Zach Bond, you couldn't got a third in the 3rd round right now. Since you're not using that draft pick, you get a right guard. That's a guard. Put him right there. You'll be getting the same production, and you'd have got another guy explosive on the outside as well. So. I mean, even though we got Callaway, so you got Callaway, you will have Ayuk, you have Sanders and Thomas. Oh my God, dude. Come on with these draft picks. Get it right, man.
Yeah, you got a point, Jim, Kevin. But another thing is too, the Ruiz pick is turning out to be good because I think eventually next year sometimes they'll change him over to the center position and circle McCoy the guard too. And I think that's something that he eventually will do. That'll happen next year sometimes when they have more of an extended window. He's gotten a feel for the offense. And I know for sure that he's having discussions with McCoy on the side where he's telling them McCoy is giving them the game as well. So this guy's a natural born center. He's doing a tremendous job at the right guard position. And even though Zach Bowen is shaping up not to be a guy that helped the team right now. This is shaping up like a future pick. You got to look at it because they would have not made the move to go after and get a guy like Quan Alexander if they felt that confident about Zach Bowen.
Exactly.
So Zach Bowen's a future pick in my opinion. So he'll be developing.
I don't understand, but Q, that's where I'm kind of like, I'm not with you on that. I don't understand how you have that concept to get guys like that high of a round to be a future pick. I mean, you could have got a linebacker like we know off the street to play special teams. I mean, to go down there and do what he's doing. I mean, Zach Bond don't dress Sunday. Would you ever miss that he's out on the field? No, you wouldn't. He's a high third round pick that was projected in the first round. So, you go back and use future draft picks to go get another guy that's questionable with injury. I'm like, man, I don't see the logic in this here. I don't really get it. But, like Sway say, trust the Peyton. Give it time and we'll see. But I definitely don't. I don't understand a lot of these draft picks, bro. I really don't. I mean, I like Ruiz. But if I had to go back and do it again, he wouldn't be my first pick. I'm not saying he wouldn't be in my top 5. But he wouldn't be my number 1 pick. It was too much other talent to get there. I mean, but that's just how I feel about it. But he's here now, and we're going to roll with him. And, hopefully the young man does good. And hopefully he can pick up things he needs to pick up very quickly because it's an unorthodox season. You don't have training camp. You didn't have too much of the off-season workouts you couldn't get together. There was so much time wasted where you couldn't come in and actually train in the facility and get some insight on a lot of stuff. So I think he's really doing good for what he missed and that it wasn't his fault. So I can't blame him, but I think he's doing okay right now, man, coming in under the circumstances, under fire. But that's what you got to do with a first round pick, even though you may want to go back and think, if I could do it again, but you can't. So whoever you pick in the first round has to play.
Yeah, and that's a part of it too, unless you have a deep team. And the Saints did what they did in terms of finding a guy and I don't think it worked out the way they seen. I think they wanted to use him more as a defensive end. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the thing is. Even though he played linebacker, he really got his comeuppance in his high grade mark because of his ability to rush the passer. They have not put him in that role there yet because they feel like the guys that are there are doing such a good job. And I don't think they are going to push Granderson down just to give Zach Bowen an opportunity to play. Now, he could be behind Granderson, but that's a poor position down, being that the Saints right now are effective in terms of what they're using with Hendrickson, Davenport mixture, and of course they'll sprinkle Granderson in there. They occasionally they might throw Malcolm Brown Roach in there at the end position because he got linebacker speed for a big 300-pounder.
He can move,
So, I mean, he's a guy they could throw in there too. I've seen a player too where they will line him up at the end. So they have options. That's why Zach Bowen is not somebody they feel like they have to fit that position. So right now he's just learning the game from a special team standpoint. And he's being a guy that's going to sit behind talent because remember, Quan Alexander's here with Demario Davis gets his contract extension. Quan Alexander is with the team. We'll see how it's shake in the future. Alex Anzalone is now relegated to the third linebacker with the team. So he'll be sitting a lot on the bench, and he might be relegated to the special teams as well because he won't be playing a lot of snaps when Quan Alexander get caught up. So
that's right.
And then, of course, Zach Bowen, that puts him on. He's on the special teams as well already. So it's interesting how it's all shaping up. But it's just how it seems. Now, of course, I know you was looking at the fact that you was looking at Ayuk as a guy. Of course, we was talking about the guy from Liberty that I like. He's in the league. We was talking about guys like Hurd and who the 49ers picked up, and several other really talented receivers like KJ Hamler and all these other guys. The draft was littered with these guys, but the Saints didn't go out of didn't fall out of favor with the wide receivers. They were able to still get quite the steal in Marquez Callaway. He was here. The development of Deontay Harris has been spectacular. Traquan Smith says, hey, you don't need any wide receiver. I'm arrived. I'm here. And I think all that is in large part, didn't have to throw Jawan Johnson in there as well. So, I mean, you look at the Emmanuel Sanders was the biggest signing that the Saints could do to help the wide receiver core.
Yes.
Help them develop. He is one of, and a lot of people not talking up because they talk about Curtis Johnson and they make mention of who's the wide receivers coach. But the coach on the field that really helps the player, because they got the guy that tell them what to do off the field. But the guy that tell him what to do on the field is Emmanuel Sanders, and that's a trait that he's been doing. I was reading articles from Deebo Samuel and guys like Pettis and these guys that played with him last year with the 49ers. And Deebo Samuel talks about how Emmanuel Sanders was a guy that helped him see football differently, helped him become a better wide receiver. And you go back and look at that history of him. He did the same thing with the Denver Broncos. He did the same thing with the Steelers. This guy has been a guy that's been a veteran wide receiver that helps the young guys get it. And there's no coincidence that all those young wide receivers are all playing with confidence. Deontay Harris boost. He looks a lot, slicker, more confident. Marquez Callaway looks like he's been playing football for the last 3 years professionally. Traquan Smith has arrived, the confidence, the blocking, the catching, knowing where he needs to be. He has arrived finally. He's gotten it. So I think that's a major part of it, man. With Emmanuel Sanders arriving on the site. So GM Kev, I'm gonna give you the flow, my brother, for the final comment, and then we're gonna move on. I got a few more shows I got to do tonight, my brother.
Yeah, man. I seen your Ring King boxing notification just popped up. What time is that coming on tonight?
It should be coming on right now.
Okay. Let me wrap up right quick. Okay, man. We always could say what we could use. That's how the draft is, man. But the receivers is not the Saints' problem. And I don't really think defense is either. It's all about depth. And like you said, I don't understand why they went and got all these other guys when you could have got a veteran at that defensive end spot that could come in and just give you what you need. So I'm really confused about all these no-name guys when you got, like you said, a Cameron Wake out there, or even a Clay Matthews you can get for cheap that has a name and that knows. So I'm really still confused about that part, because I doubt if these guys they just brought in going to come in and help the team at NAQ. There's a reason why they was available at this time anyway, those guys. So I don't know.
Well, I got to agree with you, Jim Kev. We might see this Ringo guy play very scantily, to be honest, but you probably see him play more scantily than mostly because there's a position there and they want to have that extra lineman there just in case something goes wrong. But they have a lot of talent on the Saints defensive line. It's been the deepest unit and most productive unit they've had. And of course, when Cam wakes up and he starts playing, and like I said, we got to move Cam around on that defensive line and give him opportunities to meet the single blockers, because the truth of the matter is he's where he lines up over there, they're going to double block him on that side. Perhaps if you can, at the last minute, shift him and have him and Trey Henderson to change sides, and then he gets a mismatch, we can create a lot of stuff. Running more stunts, moving and situating him differently on the defensive line will help Cam Jordan do it. And he can do that. He's a real mobile defensive end. And I think that's a smart usage of his talent, man. Move him around and create mismatches and have Trey Anderson and Davenport be able to move around there and make things happen as well. So, Jim Kev, thank you for joining up on the show, my brother. And I'll see you later on Ring Kings Boxing and then on Q with Big Q.
All right, man. I'll let you later. Peace. Who that?
That's GM Kev, man, chiming in. I appreciate GM Kev always dropping by. Much love to GM Kev and the rest of the family members. And before we go, family, I'll read some stuff from the chat with the family members chiming in on this special show. What's really awesome, family, is the fact that, we have these multiple platforms that we continue to use when things go south on some of the other major platforms. We can still be able to communicate with each other. So feel free to share the links for the show tonight, as well as to sign up for Pro Radio. Like I said, it's over 70,000 downloads of Pro Radio since we've done it. I mean, all kind of shows. I mean, old shows from the Sports Coma is on here. I mean, the whole entire dial.
catalog. Well, we know we've been doing this for over 5 years, and we got Pelican Post Game Reports, Ring King, Boxing World, Tough Tiger Talk. All that's available on Pro Radio and audio format. I know everybody prefer the YouTube and the visual broadcast, but sometimes, this is how I do. But big ups to the rest of the family members here. Let's see. Brother Verlin says, "Who that to you, Verlin?" He says, "Q, the win was okay, but I may be greedy or more strict than most. Why can't we why can't we do squat in the third, 30 plus in the first half? Then there's the struggle again. That was indeed supposed to be at 50 burger. That was great half by the O and a great game by the defense." Great point, Brother Verlin. Once again, nailing it. The great same thing tank. One is the intelligent in the business. You're right. And I've pinpointed that. I've studied the Saints film family. I'm telling you, I've studied it and studied it. And for whatever reason, the third quarter is a problem of dysfunction for the Saints team. They can't seem, they get flat in the third. And I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, why they get so dysfunctional in the third quarter. I don't get that part. I really don't. You're coming out of a halftime. You should have a certain focus, or maybe it's the certain collection of plays that they're trying to run. My recommendation would be, if you tend to struggle in the third quarter, coming out, why don't you just shift into a 2-minute offensive role? You know what I mean? Shift into a 2-minute offensive role and have that rhythm set going, and you hit that defense really surprising, that opposing defense with a 2-minute offense. And you just start flailing away and force them to burn a timeout. You see what I'm saying? Doing stuff like that to kind of wake up the offense, just jumping into your 2-minute offense out of nowhere. Starting off, coming out the third quarter, just jump into the 2-minute offense and just start going play after play after play on them, and tiring them out to the point where they have to burn the timeout at the start of the third. Those could be things that we could do, because I don't know if the scripting of the plays coming out of the third quarter are actually working. The majority of the time, and stuff that I've noticed from the team so far is the fact that they are having these slow starts in the third. So that definitely warrants us paying attention to what needs to be done. So, Verl, that's a great comment there. Appreciate it, bro. All right, Brother Torres says, "I was telling Scoob the same thing Sunday night. It's like Peyton started calling stupid plays that kill drives in the second half." Shaking my head. Yeah, it's problematic. And I've noticed that, and I've said that, then people would tell me in comments and chat, "Man, Q, we winning. What you worrying about that for?" And I'm saying, man, damn, just because you winning the battle don't mean you're going to win the war. And that's something they can't get, because there's such a thing as three-dimensional thinking, and just all it means is viewing or having a perspective around the object that you're looking at. It's three-dimensional. It's like you're looking at that object from 3 different angles. That's how I describe it. You might be looking at it from up under it, on top of it, and then veering from a angle where you directly around it, looking around it. So you have a top view, under view, and then a side view, a 360 side view where you're going around that thing. And with doing it like that, you could be able to tell exactly what it is, how it is when you do it like that. So that's how my thought process is. That's why I told them that I view the game like a coach, as opposed to some guy sitting with a TV with his hand in his TV remote in his hand with the television on, calling plays from the chair. And they'll say, "Well, man, y'all armchairing quarterbacking and Sean Payton actually doing it." Not so much, because you'd be surprised to know how often these guys are in these shows listening to what people are telling them. I'm telling you what time it is. They will not. And then another thing, it can't discredit you if you know what you're talking about. That's another thing. So people might not like your passionate style, family members, like when you're talking about the Saints, your intellectual yet passionate style of delivering your message to the rest of the Who Dat Nation. They might not like that, because a lot of the Who Dat Nation family members are they have more of a serene approach, which whatever the coach do, I'll do, or whatever the coach says is good enough for me approach, where you like, nah, I think that's wrong, because there's a right and wrong way to do. It's a right or wrong way to do things. And I hate to use that old Keith Sweat song as a right and the wrong way to love somebody, but that's the reality insofar as it's a right and wrong way to do things, especially if you're a football coach and I, through my observation, notice that a lot of these games that we're playing, we're dying in the third quarter. And if I can pinpoint that and see that it's a collection of plays that we're running that we're not getting the success on, perhaps we need to stop running those plays. And to spark the offense off in the third, maybe we need to start using the 2-minute offense to wake them up and take the opposing defense off guard. It could be something, just a thought throwing out there, man. Just a thought. But that's the reality we're dealing with when you're facing being a Who Dat in a Who Dat nation. You know, a lot of people right now are definitely celebrating the Bucks win, and they should. This was a good win, but let us not be nearsighted and understand that that was not the Super Bowl. That wasn't even close to the Super Bowl. We merely swept this team and moved them out of our collective vision. But the truth of the matter is we still have very much a long way to go in this season, and that's truth be told. All right, let's keep going on down in the chat here and going over some of the commentary before we leave. Okay. Yeah, but that's the main thing. And big ups to Jim Kerr for dropping by on the show, man. But the reality at the end of the day is the Saints must continue to strive and fix and eliminate the errors. They look terrific. The defense played with a lot of confidence. They were flying around the field, making plays. I couldn't have said or wished for something. Coach Payton ran the ball over 30-something times in the matchup. He actually ran it more. I think he ran it more than he threw it, or just underneath what he threw it. So, I mean, I forget the count, but this was the kind of game that I love to watch, because what it did was it took 40 minutes of time of possession, took the offense, took the team away, the playbook, half their playbook away from them. They couldn't do nothing but pass the ball. And then the Saints just pinned their ears back and went after Tom Brady. And the defense just laid back in the passing lanes and wait for Tom Brady to throw picks or to try to fit balls in tight windows. And when you have it like that, man, listen, it's over, it's done data. And that's exactly how the Saints played it. And I got to give them credit for that, man, because I was then saying, and they had family members saying, he says, well, you've been crying for this, glad to see you not crying anymore about it. And that's how they see it. They see, some of them see it as me. They say I'm crying. They say they see it as me crying about how the Saints are winning games. And I'm like, that's not it at all. What I'm trying to do is warn you guys that you can't win games in this manner. You're going to have to step up and play. You're going to have to learn how to do and win these games correctly, and not luckily wait for teams to miss field goals, or whoever can get the quarter, the rights, the heads or tails on the quarter to get the possession and score, whatever. We got to take the destiny in our hands, and we have to beat the team handily. So, just some people see that like that. Good thing I don't see it like that. And I'm just happy that we as a collective understand that, man. I really am. So, family, I'd like to thank y'all for joining us for TSC Wednesday Saints Talk, once again coming from you from Pro Radio. Like I said, we will convert this show over to YouTube probably in the next couple hours or so. I won't be doing another show. This will be it, and we'll convert that. And that'll probably be up in another hour or two on YouTube as well. Also, tonight is Ring Kings Boxing is going down. It's going to be on over an hour content of Ring Kings Boxing. We cover everything. It was a very busy week in boxing coming up this week. Of course, we have the Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brook welterweight championship fight that's coming up this weekend, after a terrific fight last weekend with Devin Haney and Yuri Gamboa. We covered that fight as well. We recapped that fight, preview Crawford Brooks upcoming welterweight championship fight. We also talk about a ton of topics in this new one. Mike Tyson spoke about on his Hot Boxing show, Hot Boxing, whatever it's called, about him using a fake penis with child urine in it to pass drug tests. We cover that on the show. We also talk about the fact that King Kong Luis Ortiz beat a cab driver by the name of Flores, who's being looked at by the athletic commissioners, the California State Athletic Commission, for what could possibly be a tank. The guy fell down in 45 seconds in the fight. They're looking at it. They seized his money, and they want him to appear at a hearing. Usually when they do that, they suspect you took a dive in the fight. And like I've been documenting on Ring Kings, I've been telling people how dirty the fight game is, and I keep getting current examples to explain them. We also talk more about Tyson Fury, the cheater. He has a response for Deontay Wilder, and more Shakur Stevens news, Gary Russell Jr. news, Mikey Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, all that news and more in a full hour of Ring Kings Boxing is going down tonight on our Ring Kings Boxing channel. So feel free to join Ring Kings Boxing on YouTube. And also make sure you join the Pro Radio, because we'll have it also on Pro Radio as well. So with that being said, tomorrow, Friday, we'll have Pelican Post Game Report. We'll have a Tough Tiger Talk coming at you real soon as well. And then later on tonight, On Q with Big Q, we'll release another episode. And it's the final part of the Hidden in Plain Sight series that we're doing. I think this will be part number 4. That will complete the series before we look at going into more live broadcasting for the Ring Kings Box, because it's a little too difficult to record, the pre-record, because it's a lot of stuff that has to be added into it, and we kind of pinched right now with what we're doing, trying to do what we do and move forward. So I know it's a lot, but we continue to move forward, building the platform because of your donations, because of your support and your love. So I appreciate you guys for being here on the show today. Like I said, and please check out those other formats as well. Now, just to throw out a little something else, fam, we'll have some new designs and some new gear coming out. We got a new Sports Coma lid coming out, the new hat Sports Coma coming out. It's the Sports Coma shield on the top of a black and gold flag with the Florida leaves. Is pretty fire. It's a shirt, and also it's a new hat design that we got coming out as well. So it's several different sweater special edition hats and sweaters that eventually they'll be coming out from Pro Apparel. So be looking out for that. Also be looking out for the new iPhone app. The Google app is available. The iPhone app will be coming out soon. I'll let you guys know about that. Still in the works. The development team is very slow with these Apple people. They're slow. And then also not to mention the fact that if you're looking for the platform PRO Media Network, you have a Roku or a Fire Stick, Google Pro Media Network, or not Google it, but put it in the search box of your Roku or your Fire Stick, search for the channel, and we're there, and then save the channel, or you can be able to watch us on Fire Stick and on Roku. So we're doing big things, man. And I just like to thank all you guys for what you do to help us out with that. So, man, listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And listen, we're going to peep y'all out tomorrow. I'll be back at the same time, same bat channel, same bat time tomorrow on the show. So big ups to the family. Much love to you. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.